What's up, everybody? Welcome back to racingdudes.com. Welcome back to a new video that I kind of want to do, kind of thought about doing for a while and decided to do it this week and maybe going forward. The weekend recap video. So a lot goes on during the weekends, whether it's Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. And, we do kind of recap them on our podcast, but I kind of want to do a standalone recap every week. Kind of look at what we saw, what we maybe did wrong, did right, or maybe what we learned and things like that. So, to kind of look forward to the future. So let's do it. Let's do it. I've for this week, it was kind of there was a lot of racing going on. So I've got 10 races that I want to talk about. I'll start to put them up on the screen now and we'll just go through them one by one. Let's start with Friday at Saratoga. It was the Harvey Pack Stakes. Bring the Band Home was the winner of this one. A 109 Beyer speed figure was assigned to Bring the Band Home in this spot. It was 5.5 furlongs on the turf, $150,000 race. It seemed pretty wide open on paper. This was one we got correct, and so I was happy with that. This was the last race of the day there at Saratoga, and I was able to get this one right. I thought it was just a completely wide open race, and it kind of turned into a one-horse race, really. Bring the Band Home just was very, very strong. It's a sprint division that's been kind of, a little bit crazy, this season. So, who knows really what this means going forward? Can this horse kind of repeat that effort? I'm not quite sure. It wasn't really a race that you would think would have gotten the high buyer of the whole weekend, but it did. I would also say, boy, the track was a little bit funky up at Saratoga, whether it's turf or dirt. So, I don't know about these buyers or what they really mean long-term, but I do know that this was a very, very solid effort. So, wanted to start off with that one. Maybe one I wouldn't have really talked about, but it was such an impressive effort that, you wanted to talk about it a little bit. All right, let's keep going to another one here. Let's go to the Manila Stakes, also at Saratoga here on the 4th of July here on Friday. And this was Zulu Kingdom that gets the job done in this one with an 85 Beyer speed figure. Going 1 mile here on the turf. It was a grade 3 event. Many people thought Zulu Kingdom would be in the Belmont Derby. We're going to talk about the Belmont Derby here in a second. Look, I think it was the right decision. I don't think Zulu Kingdom ran just like a total beast in this race, right? That being said, it was a pretty clear win. You never really thought he was going to lose the race. Capitol Hill in second, Tiz Dashing in third here. But, it wasn't any kind of a runaway effort. I don't know. I thought going into this race, it's weird that Zulu Kingdom's entered here, but maybe this is a horse he just wants to keep at a mile. Chad Brown knows more than I do, that's for sure. And you kind of go away like saying, okay, it was a good effort, but I don't know. What are we going to do going forward? Are we going to try to beat this horse next time out? Or do you think, the horse just kind of was a workmanlike effort and will kind of improve off the effort? I don't know, but definitely a lot of class with this one. But I thought it was the weakest of his 3 races so far this year, even though, again, it was a win. So, at the end of the day, you want to win, and that's kind of the point of things. So, you take the victory and you go forward. All right, let's keep going as we will go forward towards the Suburban Stakes next. This was another race on Friday. This was a real heartbreaker. Got both these stakes races on Friday right, coming in. Well, other than this one, the Suburban, and the next one we'll talk about the test score. But the Suburban, Phileas Fogg gets the job done. It was a track that really, really favored speed, and they let Phileas Fogg go out in front. It was Antiquarian. Why I'm saying it's such a heartbreak. I had Antiquarian in this spot, gets beat very narrowly. And so again, like I was saying, the track favored speed, and Antiquarian. If you watch the race, and Jared Welch pointed this out to me as well after the race, he loses ground on the turns, and Antiquarian was kind of there starting to pressure Phileas Fogg a little bit, and they got to the turn, and Antiquarian he didn't handle turns very well, and he lost several links, and it allowed Phileas Fogg to get the jump on everybody. And again, it was a nice speed favoring track that super helped him. There's no question about it. And then he was able to hold off Antiquarian late once he got going in the stretch again. Locked was third in this race. I know a lot of people liked Locked. Was the 4-5 favorite. I didn't have much of a chance, I think, over this track. And also, he just kind of was a little bit flat. I thought a little bit too. So a little bit of both for Locked. I don't know if he needs a break or an easier race or what, or maybe just a a racetrack that favors him a little bit more. But if you watch races during that day, you didn't feel good about Locked coming into the race as far as the track was concerned. And they did kind of have to take him out of his element. Usually Locked is a horse that likes to come from, 4, 5, 6 lengths off. He wasn't that in this race. So I don't know. Kind of mixed signals. I think in a better situation, maybe, he's got a better chance next time out. But we'll see. He doesn't quite have that same kick. That's 2 races in a row now. He hadn't really had it. But again, I don't totally blame him for this. The track really didn't play to him, play to his advantages. So he's kind of moved forward off of it for Locked. But 104 buyer there for Phileas Fogg. And like I said, it was a gutty effort to hold on late to get the job done. Let's keep going to the next race, or excuse me, the last race we'll talk about on Friday, and that is the Belmont Derby. And it was Test Score that gets the job done with a 90 buyer speed figure. So, you compare Zulu Kingdom. Again, a lot of people, including myself, was kind of confused why that horse wasn't there. 85 buyer, Test Score gets a 90. I don't believe in buyers fully, but it is a talking point, right? So Test Score gets it done. I thought he ran exceptionally well. He turned the corner and it's kind of New Century's there with a chance. You feel like if he gallops on, he's going to have a chance. Test Score's right around there. Test Score was just stronger, just simply stronger than everybody else in this race and finished full of run. World Beater was second. Luther was third in this spot. I would give Luther another chance. I thought he ran exceptionally well, and I thought World Beater ran okay as well. Again, you needed to kind of be close, especially on Friday, and the Test Score was a little bit closer to the pace and was able to kind of kick on. So again, 90 buyer speed figure, nothing that goes crazy here, but another nice effort for him, and look, last time out was second to Zulu Kingdom, who I thought ran very well in the American Derby, and Test Score backed it up with another good effort here. So yeah, I think the 3-year-old division for the turf horses, I think, we may have some different winners when we get to the Saratoga Derby next out up at Saratoga. But, look, Test Score definitely has stamped himself as a primetime contender in that division. No question about it. All right, let's go on to Saturday here, and let's go to the Sanford. That's what we'll talk about first. Here, it was race 3 on Saturday up at Saratoga. So we stick with the theme there up there. And, man, this was an awesome performance by the number 2 Obliteration. Gets the job done for Steve Asmussen. 4 to 5, horse here. And ran just tremendous. Now 2 wins now in a row for Obliteration by multiple lengths. 91 buyer speed figure here for this horse, and he just simply crushed the competition. He got out in front. Bring It On Back was a horse that was kind of pressuring a little bit on the turn, and then Obliteration just put this horse away. So a very, very exciting prospect here, Obliteration. And then the race just 2 before this, it was not a stakes race. It was just a maiden special weight, but the debut of Ewing happened in that one, and he was spectacular as well. So 2 out of the first 3 races on Saturday at Saratoga, we saw very good performances. Look out for Obliteration. I would say the horse will run back and maybe the Adirondack and the Hopeful up at Saratoga, and he's going to be tough for Steve Asmussen. However, Ewing looked very good, and it's also very early. I sit here on July 7th. They debuted these horses. Obliteration ran a second race on July 5th. Ewing debuted on July 5th. It's very early in the situation right now. So don't, fall in love with somebody just yet. Kind of keep an eye out for things. But as of right now, Obliteration and Ewing look to be 2 of the better horses. So that was very, very impressive from him. Let's keep going. The Keelso, and I thought this was a big time effort. As we go to the Keelso here, let me find it on my screen. There it is. I thought this was a strong effort. So Think Big was stretching out to a mile. And as they turned for home, it looked like Intellect, the Chad Brown trained runner, was going to gallop away from him a little bit. He really was starting to separate himself. Went for the Money was third here, and Intellect kind of put that horse away fairly easily. And I do think Intellect maybe lost a little bit of focus, but boy, did Think Big make a monster run up the rail and passed Intellect like he was kind of standing still. So I thought this was a really good effort here. I didn't love, Think Big in this spot. As we go down, like the races so far, like had the winner in the Harvey Pack, had the winner in Manila, Had Phillies Fog in third, Test Score I had in second, Obliteration I had on top. Think Big, I didn't really have him anywhere. And I was a little skeptical that he was going to stretch out and be able to compete with this kind of group, because this was a pretty strong race, in my opinion. He did it no problem. So big time effort here. I think you got to keep an eye on him going forward. I'm sure he's going to run. I shouldn't say I'm sure, but I would imagine he's going to run on the 4-star Dave next. I think he'll be kind of tough in there. We'll see who else is there. We know that's a really tough race, but 98 buyer, and I think he can improve off of it. I thought he was super impressive. So I give him a lot of credit. I thought he was really, really impressive in that spot. All right, let's keep going, but let's go to a different track finally, and let's go to the Great Lady M Stakes, where Sharp Azteca finally back off of a long layoff. She got to the front, and they made no ground up on this horse. She looked like her old self again. And I say Sharp Azteca, it's actually Sweet Azteca. And that when you get older, you start to remember the sire. There we go, Sweet Azteca here. You start to remember the sire more than the actual horse that's running. But anyway, I do that 6 times a day. Just the public doesn't see it 6 times a day. But anyway, look. If you remember, this was a horse that we all kind of thought was going to win, or at least be really tough in the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint. And her prep race, she didn't run very well at all. She didn't show up. And then they didn't, she was on the bench for a long time after that. They didn't run her in the Breeders' Cup. Finally comes back here. She had scratched one other time when they had her entered this season, but finally back and taking on Copian, the horse that was so impressive at Churchill Downs the last time. And next out winners coming out of that race where she just dusted them. And Sweet Azteca kind of just dominated this race from start to finish. So look out. She really stamped herself as, hey, remember me? I'm back, and I'm going to be kind of tough. So really impressed with Sweet Azteca in this spot. So got to give her a lot of credit off the bench to do that. Very, very impressive. All right, let's keep going. Let's now get on the bus and go up to Iowa for the Iowa Derby. He's back. He's back in a big way. If you watch kind of the preview I did for the Iowa Derby, or then when I found out Big Truz was going to scratch, more on him in a second, his disappointment. But on the blinkers off, I said I'm picking Magnitude, because even if he's like back to his kind of every other race but the Risen Star, he's still going to win. He kind of ran back to the Risen Star in this one. 105 buyer speed figure here for Magnitude. And look, he beat, horses that really aren't very good. For this level, I like some of the horses that were in that race for very different levels, right? I know kind of what people are going to say, and it's correct 100%. I wouldn't argue it. Is like, he beat nothing. He got out to the front, and it is what it is. I'd be careful to just say, yeah, whatever, because he kind of just did it in such a dominant fashion again, right? And really in the Risen Star, he didn't beat all that much either, but he just did it so dominantly. And my thing with him is I just wanted to see, okay, how's he going to look? Is he going to win, but it's by a length or two, and he kind of looks like that horse that we saw before the Risen Star? Or will he go out and do exactly what the horse that ran in the Risen Star would do to the horses that were in the Iowa Derby? Just murder him, basically. He killed him. So I think he's going to be very interesting. I would assume maybe Saratoga next for this horse, but we'll see what happens. Hopefully he stays healthy. He was pretty exciting. So I definitely wanted to mention him. Like I said, 105 buyer speed figure. And again, they're talking points for me more than serious handicapping tools, but at the same time, he did kind of show up, and that kind of shows you he kind of matched what he did in the Risen Star. All right, 2 races to go here on the first ever, kind of weekend wrap-up show that we're doing. And we have a lot to talk about, like I said. 2 to go here. Now we'll go to the Indiana Derby, where Tip Top Thomas dug in deep, got the job done, receives a 95 buyer speed figure for the victory. Tip Top Thomas, kind of got to the front, and just like I said, just would not let Cole Battle pass. I thought Cole Battle ran well. I thought he had every chance in the stretch. He just couldn't quite get by him. It just feels to me like Cole Battle might be a one-turn horse, and that's okay. Like, I think they should cut him back to one-turn races. I think he was very respectable in the spot. So give him a lot of credit. I thought the top two runners ran very well. I think both of them might be one-turn horses more than a mile and 16th, mile and eighth types, but still, you got to give them a lot of credit to get the job done here. And like I said, they both received 95 buyers, so pretty good efforts. I think they're kind of middle of America type derbies, which there's plenty of opportunities there. A couple other ones we'll talk about here on the also ran horses. You've got Publisher. He ran fourth. I don't know. I think a maiden special weight he might look okay in, but I don't know about these races. Continuing to try to throw him in there. Instant Replay really kind of disappointed, and the big disappointment, without any question, was Big Truz. He was horrific in this race. He turned for home right there, and he was kind of with Cole Battle and Tip Top Thomas kind of getting ready to go, and two of them ran on, and Big Truz went backwards. So I'm not sure what happened there, but he just did not perform well. Maybe he's more of a one-turn horse as well, even though I really thought pedigree-wise he looked fantastic for two turns and even longer. He sure didn't look it. So it was a horrible pick by me in that one. That's the worst pick of the week for me, no doubt about it. But anyway, thankfully had Tip Top Thomas and in the doubles and pick threes and pick fours. But not the best effort there from Big Truz. But Tip Top Thomas, I thought, showed a lot of heart and a lot of guts because he didn't really have it all by himself. Master Controller was up there with him, and even though that was kind of cheaper speed, it was still speed, right? So I just give a lot of credit to Tip Top Thomas to dig in and get the job done. All right, finally, the Belmont Oaks, maybe the biggest upset of the weekend, up at the Graveyard of Champions at Saratoga. The Belmont Oaks was won by Fionn. She gets the job done over Nitrogen and Opulent Restraint. Boy, this was a hell of a race. A lot of fun. There was a lot of really close races up at Saratoga this weekend. But 91 buyer for Fionn. Flavian Pratt caps off an amazing little run of 4 days there for Pratt. He was just incredible on the weekend. So anyway, they turned for home. Opulent Restraints got the lead, and you could tell, Nitrogen was having to work to get by Opulent Restraint. I kind of felt like once she got by just a tad, she was kind of going to do her thing, kind of gallop on a little bit and kind of, maybe win by a length or two. But, when you caught Fionn coming off on the outside there, you kind of knew, boy, this is going to be a dogfight. I mean, it was a nose victory there. It could have gone either way. But like I said, a big upset here. Flavian Pratt gets the job done, and Nitrogen has to settle for second. It'll be interesting to see what happens with all three of these horses going forward. I think Opulent Restraint is just a tiny bit below, but I think this horse can win a race somewhere. I don't know if it'll be like, a grade one or something like that, but I mean, she showed a lot. Nitrogen, they said they're going to go to the Alabama and the dirt with her. Maybe she's better on the dirt. I don't know. Maybe running on the dirt and then back to the turf kind of messed her up a little bit. Maybe she just didn't run her best. I don't know. She didn't have any excuse here. I didn't think she ran poorly, but we didn't see that burst that we've been seeing from her, right? So I don't know what they'll do with her. And then Fionn, can she kind of keep this going? Because that was a very, very good effort. No doubt about it. And look, I think, yes, Nitrogen lost, but Fionn also won. She did her part as well. So, all right, that'll do it for the weekend recap. Wanted to do something new here today, and we did. So hopefully if you like this video, let us know. Let us know in the comments if you want to keep doing this. Won't be as long every week because we won't have as many stakes races to cover. But with Saratoga, obviously continuing, and Del Mar coming up, and you got races like the Haskell and all the big summer races. If you want to see more of this, you want to see a weekly video like this, drop down in the comments and let me know, and I'll be happy to do it. All right, guys, thanks everybody for watching. And we'll see you next week for more recaps of the big races.